Johnny Cash album.
Yeah,
oh my
it's
God.
amazing. Yeah.
I get goosebumps when I just say Johnny Cash.
They would smash the gears sometimes. It was really awful.
500,000 people going completely crazy. I mean, the 80s, best times for pop music anyways. 2 or 3 gigs a night with a private jet.
Fantastic.
You're the reason why I'm here. I love to play long sets, 5 hours, 6 hours set, and take people on a complete journey. So no Instagram, no profile, no nothing. You had to play great music. I had at the time a good chance to send it to McCartney's manager. Not many people know that I did a remix of Personal Jesus.
There was outrage at the time over it in the press and by the government. They brought laws in, anti-rave, like they were terrified of it. And all of the raves I ever went to, there was never any trouble.
Doesn't need to be the sell-out shit that's around nowadays. I love it, and I'm still driven by my everyday weirdness.
Timo, thank you so much for doing this. Big fan. I've been listening to your music for the last 3 days in every aspect of it. And, I also work with some of the McCartney people, so I was especially drawn to the 1985.
1985, yeah.
Fantastic mix. Love it. Love the remix. And I heard that years ago and I kind of forgot about it. And then that was a kind of a, I mean, we've a lot of other stuff to talk about before we get to there, but that was an exciting time, wasn't it, the Grammy for that tune?
Well, the whole thing was all over, just a very, whatever, it was my project. There was no one ever asking for a remix or so. I had the chance to get those parts and had them laying around for 7 years.
Wow, 7 years?
Before I eventually found them back on the hard disk and was then just basically experimenting with a friend on these parts and said, hey, let's do a fresher version without the piano. I just want, more emphasis on the vocals and we were just experimenting. Is anyone waiting for that? I said, no one's waiting for nothing here. It's just like, let's experiment with this track. And I had at the time a good chance to send it to McCartney's manager.
Right.
Can we try that? Yeah, we can try that, but he's never answering.
Right.
It's like...
They're difficult people to get through to, but...
And it's a very long story, very short. And then, 4 days later, we had an email from McCartney's manager, said Sir Paul loves it, and gives an okay to a release. And
fabulous.
It was just an idea. I just wanted to experiment with this track. And I had the chance to get the parts due to good connections and so on and so on. And this is when you really strongly believe into making something special. Yeah, eventually it ended up in a Grammy nomination for that, which was completely unexpected. The whole story was completely unexpected. But I did it, and this is what we were talking before a little bit. This is why I always think it's so important when you really have a dream, when you really want to achieve something, especially in music business, and especially as hard as it is also nowadays. You have to work hard, and it's still possible to achieve unbelievable things as long as you really believe in yourself, in being an artist, and find ways of expressing yourself and selling yourself. It's
funny, that track, because it shows off his voice in a whole different way.
Yeah.
Like you found all the kind of bluesiness and the soul. There's so much soul in the chanty bits that he uses in the track, which kind of passed me by when I listened to the original track, because I listened to the remix this morning, and then I remembered it, and then I listened to the original. I thought, I see where he took that and where you took this, and I thought it was brilliant the way you kind of made it work as a whole piece. It was very melodic. There was a lot of melody in there.
Yeah. Even though it's still a bit abstract.
Yeah, sure.
It's still a bit
the arrangement
abstract,
is still out there,
and so on and so on. And so the whole backing is all a bit more abstract. I don't know. It's just
it worked.
There was no plan behind it. We just followed the vibe we had. We smoked jazz cigarettes and had good food and drank good wine. My partner James Teach and I. Yeah. In my house, we did this on a laptop actually.
It's a big deal getting Paul to sign off on stuff. I know his team myself. They're hardcore, man. About signing off on anything.
They told me also, when we did then also the contract, they said this is the first contract for a dance record that Paul McCartney is signing.
I believe that.
Yeah. Pop, yes, of course, everything, but for dance, he never signed a contract for that. And I met him, also had the chance to meet him once on a concert in Düsseldorf. And he's actually super nice.
Oh, he's a sweet guy.
Super nice guy, yeah. Super
I worked at Abbey Road, so I knew him from there. And I had lunch with him a couple of times. I mean, we don't go dancing together. You know, we're not
Yeah,
that
yeah.
close, but he knows who I am. But I had lunch with him a couple of times, and strangely, you know, kind of, we ended up talking about the Beatles because someone, I was sure, does he like talking about? He loves talking about the Beatles. Strange. I thought maybe he doesn't want to, but
He's
once
so
I
tiny,
mentioned
yeah.
it, yeah, sorry.
And he's so tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so super. when he was when we had the chance to talk like for a few minutes, and he was standing on the box, actually.
Yeah.
like to just like be on the same level as me was
But
actually
he
quite
still
cute.
loves music.
Yeah, so much.
And and he is very open. It's a huge compliment that he you know, signed off on the mix, because I know, as I said, I'm repeating myself here, but I know how hardcore they are about deciding every move he makes is thought through. You know, it's very.
I mean, when I met him, he was also then giving concert afterwards, like 3 hours, and he got some serious experimental and electronica stuff in his concerts. It's not just old Beatles songs. He's super experimental, anyways. And he told me also this was the interesting thing about our version, that we just like kind of like not use like the standard pass anyhow. That we just like did something that is just fresh, different, and brings his Vox, most importantly, in a completely different context. So
did a great job, man. Let's go back to the very beginning. So you grew up in Germany. Was that a little town, a major town?
Yeah, no. Little town in Germany. I'm born summer 69, really, from the 60s. And yeah, I grew up in a small town, simple family, you know, not many friends, because this town was also small, you know, whatever. And I discovered my love for music very early already. So with the age of like 7, 8, I was sitting already in front of the radio with a cassette recorder and was recording like music like from
Likewise.
the radio. Yeah, well, you know the feeling. So kind of diving in
Top
like
40.
really early. And I played the first time for friends as a DJ back in '82. So that's 43 years ago. And I'm professional also now more than 30 years. So I'm a little bit in the game.
Hey.
Did it all.
Well, that's a beautiful thing. So you were listeing to pop music at the time. So top 40, basically.
Yeah, early 80s. I mean, the 80s, best times for pop music anyways. And yeah, I totally loved all, you know, Duran Duran, Depeche, and so on and so on. Like, these bands that came up in the early 80s, they're strongly influenced. It was not the major influence for me, but they strongly influenced like my, you know, discovery of like electronic music in general. Yes, Owner of a Lonely Heart, what a song.
Brilliant
produced by a German.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, I loved the 80s, absolutely, because the first, like, I didn't know at the time that this music style is called electronic or something, but I had, you know, I'm very grateful that I was just in the middle of it, you know, the things popped up like kind of like the first acid tracks in 84, 85, and so on and so on. Like
the rave scene.
The rave scene. Then, you know, I'm not jealous. I'm not a jealous person, but I would have loved to join you on those rave parties in the fields in the very early 90s and so on and so on. I was doing my part, let's say, in Germany.
Sure.
Like in the micro scenes and so on and so on, but and then eventually came to the UK from '95 on, and then quite massive. But I mean, I wanted to go to England.
Right.
I wanted, because for me the motherland of club culture was Italy.
Okay.
Yeah, club culture, DJ culture, really. Like the Italian DJs were mixing already on 4 decks in the early '80s. No one else in the world was doing that. But for me, the absolute motherland of club music was the UK, always. Was the UK from like the late 80s for me. From the late 80s on, the early 90s were super influential for me. And I wanted desperately to play in the UK. And I had a daytime job and, you know, was playing here and there. But I was not big at all. But that was my dream. And I worked a whole bunch of years collecting addresses of clubs, making, you know, mixtapes. I sent out like 50 mixtapes into the UK in '95, successfully even. And I did the hard work. I was doing research for 1 year to approach clubs to book me to England. because I wanted to be in this fucking melting pot of music. I wanted to be
I mean, it was a mad time. I mean,
Yeah.
I was one of those, you know, I grew up a kind of a rock guy, so I was into rock music, but I've met a lot of friends in London. I lived in this building in central London, and they were really into dance music, and I started going to clubs, and, you know, a place called The Wag I used to go to a lot, which I loved, and sort of discovering dance music. All the time, still listening to rock music. I still listen to rock. You know, to me, there's only two types of music, good and bad, so I listen to everything. But we would get in cars, and we were saying earlier, driving around the M25, waiting for the call, you know, that there would be a certain turn off on the M25, and then you end up at some field, and there'd be a PA set up. But I don't think people realise how kind of there was outrage at the time over it in the press and by the government. They brought laws in, anti-rave, like they were terrified of it. And all of the raves I ever went to, there was never any trouble. There was never any trouble.
Because it was us and them.
Yeah.
Us, it was a community. And this is what today, big bridge to today, this is what today is often missing. And this is the feeling, what I'm not always, but sometimes missing, the us feeling.
Yeah.
This early 90s, we are discovering. It was not I was discovering, we were discovering. In a group of people, we were discovering the music, obviously, but also a kind of lifestyle against everything. Or like kind of like in a community of music lovers, there was no space for violence or anything. Like
No, I mean, it was the punk music of the time, you know, in the sense that the community was definitely a subculture,
Yeah,
and it was
totally,
growing out, and people just wanted to be a part of it, including me. I loved the going to it. I mean, the power of those gigs, you know, in the middle of the field, it felt so rebellious. It was like,
totally,
I mean, as teenagers, whatever, we're having fun. And it was amazing to be a part of that, and avoiding the police, you know, trying to get away from the police coming. I mean, it was ridiculous. They would smash the gears sometimes. It was really awful when it, you know, but at the same time, it was like, it was, you know, kicking it to the man.
I was part of I was there. Yeah.
I was actually there. And and we, you know, the more that the government tried to sort of suppress it, the bigger it got, you know, because then it was, you know, hey, they don't like it.
Yeah, it was
better.
this times 92, 93, 94. They were always said, yeah, this is the last year. Next year there's something else.
It's a phase.
And, it was just, and then 94, the Summer of Love. You know, those what was it, Mitsubishi ecstasy pills that came in the UK on the market.
Sure.
And in this year, when everyone said it's dead, it was exploding.
Yeah,
it was just exploding, and since it's growing.
So,
electronic music is growing, yeah.
So you started, so maybe, I think, was it 92, you start really just concentrating on techno and dance music, generally, would you say? Or what was the moment where you just sort of stopped doing pop music and stuff, and being a traditional DJ playing top 40, and then you just said, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to just...
that was end of 91. I did this pretty much all over the 80s, which was good, you know, it was normal. There was no traveling DJs at the time, and it was completely normal that you play, of course, the night on your own. And you were getting like booked, right. Or you had an arrangement in the clubs when you were great. That's it. You needed to be fucking good in what you do. So no Instagram, no profile, no nothing. You had to play great music. And I did that, you know, with everything that was asked for, like discovering my electronic sound, or now I call it electronic, but the early house sound, whatever you want to call it, and try to like put that into like the sets that I was playing, then 8 hours, 9 hours, every Friday, Saturday night. And at some point I just couldn't listen to REM and all that stuff anymore. It was just impossible. It was annoying the shit out of me. I loved music so much. With my music, I couldn't kind of like, you know, go on with that. I had a daytime job also at the time, which I hated. And then in 92, a friend asked me, hey, you with your, you know, this sound there, the house sound, shall we do a party here in my small like club here in town? Yeah, why not? You know, we printed 200 flyers for 200 people club, and 800 people appeared.
Whoa.
And from that point on, I was not playing music. That was the longest part in my life where I was not playing music, about half a year.
Wow.
I was still like buying the music I loved, but I was not performing. But there was a complete new kickstart. And then from there, I understood I only want to do this. I don't want to sell my soul, you know, play shit music basically. That I played hundreds or thousands of times. I want to be more innovative. I always had the kind of like urge to discover new things, and then I concentrated on that. 2 years later, I gave up my daytime job, And then, yeah, I roughly knew what I want, and then I made everything to make reality out of that.
But obviously the listening to all that other music through your early life became handy later on.
Normal, yeah.
You know, when you knew where to sample. Like the whole sampling thing was huge. You know, I mean, I was just thinking about this when I was going to interview today, and I just thought, I remember like my early samplers. Like I had an Akai X7000. Do you remember? There's like sampling time of 8 seconds at 12-bit at the lowest rate.
Yeah.
Like 8 seconds is all, and a little floppy disk you stuck in it. It was like, it was so limited, but. And like the S1000, the first, and that the S900 and the S1000 were the pinnacle of the time, and the Atari, the 1040. Was that similar to a setup you were using at the time?
I was never an engineer.
Okay.
I was never an engineer. I call myself a producer, but I always worked with engineers because I never had the urge to be technically the best. Right. I always had the urge to be creatively not the best, but you know, to be able to create exactly that what's up here, yeah? Right, on my hard disk. And so I had then, I started in the 80s with a friend, when I was 16, 17, with like wheel to wheel. And we were like cutting the tapes and sticking them back together and made master mixes. Sure. and stuff like that. I mean, and I already asked my friend to do this because he was better in that. I never had the urge, I need to be the best, or in the studio, I need to be the best. I have to have I do the best mix down, I do this or whatever. No, I know very much not exactly, there's of course always open room, but I have a very clear picture of what I want to create, and then I'm working with those people where I have the opinion I can work with them best on these projects. And I'm still also in the day of today working with like several teams on completely different projects. Did you
ever get into jungle as well? Like drum and bass, as they like to call it now?
Well, never in producing, but as a fan, yeah. When I had my Bristol times, like from the mid-90s on, Ronnie Size represent, they
Goldie.
were doing, Ronnie Size, the represent crew, his crew.
Tricky as well?
All of them. Even now, Portishead was no drum bass, but I mean, was also an integral part of the Bristol scene. They were always having their residency in the basement of the club where I was playing at Lakota. And so when I played the peak time set in the main room, running off, T-shirt off, half a pill, down in the basement, you know, smoke machine, strobe light, and drum and bass. And I loved it because the sound was just developing itself at the time in Bristol, in the melting pot of the sound. I loved it so much.
I mean, that's a huge part of music now, the Bristol sound and what it brought to the world. It was definitely one of the great sort of movements, I think, in British music history. Sometimes underplayed, but the amount of Massive Attack and all the different acts that came out at that time was just huge in its influence around the world.
It was influencing also me very strongly, just in being there. I spent a lot of time, especially in Bristol, over years, and you know, we were just hanging in the pub with those people partly, and just like, you know, talking about music. You know, some of the artists we were just pointing out were small artists at the time.
Massive Attack,
Massive
Portishead.
Yeah. There were small artists at the time.
Yeah, sure.
Massive Attack developed to one of the, you know, like most impressive, in my opinion, bands out there in this kind of musical field, and yeah. I mean, I did Glastonbury so often. It was 9 times I was playing Glastonbury. So always the connection to the English. I always had a very strong connection, especially 90s, 2000s, with the UK scene.
I mean, your sound as well, again, going back to the melody of it, because sometimes it kind of reminds me of Jean-Michel Jarre. I don't know, I can...
Influence? Yeah. My number one influence? You're German, it's Kraftwerk. No, it's not fucking Kraftwerk, it's Jean-Michel Jarre.
Oh, okay.
Equinox, Magnetic Fields, and Oxygen. These 3 albums shaped me.
I can kind of hear it.
Long story short, it's like without him, I would have not... I don't know, maybe I would still work for German Telecom and sell mobile phones or something. But no, I had the chance, and that was one of the highlights in my career, to meet him and tell him, like 6-7 years ago. So I had the chance to meet Jean-Michel Jarre, and then I told him, dude,
Fantastic.
you're the reason why I'm here. And cool shoes he had on.
Incredible.
I have to say, what a cool man.
And of all the different remixes you did, you've worked with Depeche Mode, with Muse, and obviously we mentioned McCartney. What was your favourite one? I know it sounds a bit glib, but you know what I mean?
It does.
It's getting late.
That's fine.
But you know what I mean? There's got to be one that sticks out. Obviously the McCartney one had a lot of success, but was there one that you were like, I really pulled that one out of the bag? It was difficult, but I made it work. It just, the magic happened.
I mean, fair enough, I have to say, like, especially this period from like between 97 until 12 years later, I was working very intensely with Martin Woodridge as an engineer from Hanover together. Unfortunately, we don't have much contact anymore. But in this time, it's a difficult question. I mean, Depeche Mode, Enjoy the Silence for sure, is a classic. Frankly, I see that in the big data statistics every weekend, who and how many people are playing that, and it's getting played every weekend, 25 years, 24 years after the release. For sure, strong one.
Well, that's a big one to have, because, you know, I know Daniel Miller, who owns Mew. You know, again, that's a tough one to get through. You know, they have to really love it.
Also, Daniel told me also that this was one of his favorite all-time remixes for the band, and when he DJs, sometimes he still plays it.
I was out in Poland with him a few years ago, and it's myself, Flood, and Daniel Miller. We were giving talks on production. It's the most drunk I've ever been in my whole life. And in the end, we were myself and Flood.
But he's a lovely chap.
Oh, he was amazing. He was DJing, and myself and Flood were. It was Poland, right in the middle, Łódź, right in the middle of Poland. Yeah. And they just kept giving us drink, and we were dancing on the speakers, myself and Flood, like, you know, like a pair of lunatics. Funny story on that though. So we all went to bed like, I don't know, 5 in the morning or something. Daniel, we're all drunk, and then I had to give a talk about production like 9 o'clock, and then about 11 o'clock, Flood turns up and he said, "Oh my God, I had a bit of a thing happened in the hotel room." He said, "What?" He said, I didn't hear the maid knocking at the door. And he said, and then she came in, and then I bolted up, and she ran out of the hotel room screaming. And he said he didn't know why. And then he went and looked in the mirror in the bathroom. His face was covered in blood because he banged his head in the night, and it was all blooded. He had all this caked blood on his face. So if you ever see him, Flood, with a little scar above his eye, that was that day in Poland. But we had a brilliant time, and I have so much respect for Daniel Miller and what he brought to dance music, and to, you know, still a great DJ with all those amazing acts that
I was doing a night on Ibiza for one season 7 years ago or something, and I had Daniel Miller also as a guest DJ.
Fantastic.
I had some really cool guys there, but also I wanted him, and so we had the chance also to spend some time together. And frankly, I mean, he played a techno set there.
Sure.
You know, all the kids, I mean, they can pack their bag and go. It was just like proper techno, proper cool, proper, just like really, like even techno can be extremely musical and super cool. It doesn't need to be the sell-out shit that's around nowadays, you know. It was really cool. He was playing for me, the favorite set of the whole season, I have to say. Really, really fucking good. People say, "Hey, you know, this old man," and say, "Yeah, let the old man, you know, twist the knobs slightly a little bit, and then you got to learn a little bit."
Yeah, no, he's a bit special, and his career's been incredible. You know, what he did at Mute with those, as I said, discovering Depeche Mode. I mean, they were signed to Mute, and that whole label, literally everybody on it was superb. And
other remixes, Placebo for sure, Special
Great
K.
band.
Special K, like that was the first remix I did for the band of 8, 9 or so nowadays. That was definitely a very strong one. Not many people know that I did a remix of Personal Jesus also, which is not too shabby. Yeah. So two of the biggest. This is the thing, when you sit there in the studio and you might know the feeling, and then you have like one of those things that are tattooed in your head as one of the top 10, top 20 most prominent pop songs of all times.
Yeah, Personal Jesus is definitely
no, I mean, even Enjoy the Silence.
Yeah, sure.
In this thing. We didn't we had this on the mixer, and then you kind of like have to digest that first. How can I interpret that without destroying the magic of the original, but adding my own sound? And we didn't tell anyone that we're working on Depeche Mode for like a month. We called the whole project. What we're working on today, Enjoy the Violence. Yeah, it's just because we were just working so intensely and hard on that, on just every little tone in it, to not disrespect the track, but strongly bring our thing in. But it's a good example of, of how to handle these things. It was difficult. It wasn't difficult technically, and from the creativity, it was more difficult here in the head to kind of like, oh, now I have Madonna on the mixer or something. It's like, oh, fuck. Yeah, how do we handle that? Make music.
Did you have all the stems or just the vocal?
Usually all the stems, but mostly we made most of the backings new. Not always, yeah. Placebo, for example, of course, use guitars and stuff like that, and some of the synth lines or so. But usually, like the drum backings or so, we were writing completely new. Yeah.
So you would be telling the engineer what you want. So
Yes.
you'd say, let's take that, let's take this, and sample this and sample that, and
yeah, kind of, yeah.
Yeah. And you never really just wanted to get into the whole technical side of it, like getting sound.
I understand it. I would say
Right.
pretty much for 100%. Also the different kind of DAWs you use and so on, and whatever, Logic, Ableton, Pro Tools, blah. Worked on all of them, so I understand all of them. And no, I can't, mate. I can't be bothered. My head is full with music and ideas, and I want to concentrate on that. Why would I need to? This is just wasted time, in my opinion. I'm 55 now. I don't have time to waste. And certainly I will not try to, nowadays, another bridge, I'm a coach, so I'm coaching like up-and-coming producers and so on and so on. And these guys are technically on such a high level already, with the age of like early 20s partly. It's like, do I want to catch up with this? No, I want to, kind of like tell them how much or how important creativity and is important still, in my opinion, in the process of creating music. Yeah, especially nowadays in the times of AI and so on and so on. And so creativity and being unique and original is so much more important than knowing, is okay, this hi-hat doesn't have, the perfect, it's like I need to twitch here and there. He is perfect in that, please. Then he can do that, it's fine. I don't need to be bothered by that. I want the perfect hi-hat. He knows how to do that, so I get the perfect hi-hat.
It's kind of, sometimes you think, you have to say to younger artists, it's not more gear, more software, it's more good ideas.
I know so many people that have huge studios and hundreds of thousands, sometimes more. And they're sitting there and making beats all day, and they cannot finish a fucking track or song. They don't get nothing finished because they have no ideas.
Yeah.
In my very personal bubble, I understood when you trigger the right person the right way, they are able to do things they have no idea that they are able to do this. Yeah? And when you're going out of the studio, and then this person is kind of like a little bit back into lethargy. And then I worked with so many different people together. I understand it's essential, this sidekick. You can be the best in the blah, this and that. I mean, Rick Rubin is a good example. Rick Rubin is known as one of the best producers in the world.
Doesn't play anything, doesn't know anything about equipment.
He doesn't give a shit. He's a viber.
Yeah.
And he has certainly found out to, first of all, trigger the people the right way and read them. Read what is, Johnny Cash.
He's a very emotional.
Johnny Cash album, oh my God.
Amazing, yeah.
I get goosebumps when I just say Johnny Cash. But the intensity of this album, it's pretty much super unique. And you can squeeze that out. I also believe in that. You can squeeze that. He's the king, of course. But it's like in my little world, on the levels I work and so on and so on, this is what I'm also actively trying until the day of today, very much today even. I was kicking my one producer's ass a little bit early on my travels here. But it's like this is what I want. I want to create with my team still outstanding music. If it's the bread and butter stuff, means the club music that I'm doing, but I'm also doing a lot of experiments for pop artists, recording with a blues artist right now, and just keep my creativity rolling, you know.
I mean, the bottom line is it emotionally connecting? I don't care if it's metal, if it's dance, if it's... Is it making me feel anything?
Yes.
And that's the basis of everything, really, in my view.
As soon as a musician, as a DJ, it's the same. You have touched the person emotionally with your music, with your song, with your set or anything like that. There will be fans forever, because they have a connection with you. Yeah. And this is something you know. And I also know and understand this is the direction also I'm working in. Emotion, even when you do techno, you can bring still a lot of emotion in, not with cheesy melodies, but with intensity and these things so-called between the lines, the details and so on and so on.
I mean, you touched on it a few minutes ago, but AI. I mean, we talk about people not being inspired enough or working hard enough. I don't want us to sound like we're sort of having a go at young up-and-coming artists and young up-and-coming DJs. But it's so easy to be lazier, you know, because with AI coming, where literally it's. I'll be honest today. I was sending someone a text on my phone, and instead of writing it in, I just talked it in because there's a couple of words that I know how to spell, but for a second I was like, am I spelling it right? Oh, I'll just talk it in. I think I'm getting lazy. You know, you're going to start forgetting how to spell. You know, and I think with music the same now. It's just going to be asking, you know, computers to do the work. And I don't know, what's your view on that, where that's going? Where can it be used positively and where can it should not be used?
I use in the different teams, we use like different AI tools, mostly I would say rather to separate vocals or instruments out of like old recordings, where we don't have the samples from. I don't want to tell you now exact what detail, but let's say also in vocal work and so on, to give vocal guides to the singer.
Sure.
It's much easier nowadays because you can give like pretty much very exact guides in creating that in AI if you want to. I use that with my one man, not too often, but sometimes we use that. It's helpful, it's a helpful tool. On the other hand, I would say it's not a technical thing, it's rather an ethical thing. It's in my opinion, AI can basically copy anything apart from soul. Yeah? Apart from these things, a real musician does in the times when he's just like touching the string of the guitar in the moment outside of the note and so on. The life, yeah? The life, the shaky finger and all these things. AI cannot do that. It's the thing between the lines. This is something, as I say, it's an ethical thing. And I'm rather trying to work things like that out and bring a lot of like emotion between the lines, not emotion through cheap accords or anything, that a different kind of emotion into that. And this is, I love to do this. And yes, I use like certain tools. I could also, I could also sit there and just, you know, press, there's enough tools like that. You press a button, okay, you need a different line, cluck, next, oh yeah, this is fine, okay, I need a vocal, cluck, 10 seconds, you have a vocal AI created, and so on and so on. No, it annoys me. It's too random, it feels also plastic for me.
Do you think people are going to see through it, or is it? I mean, I think it's a worry with the way that, say, you mentioned earlier on about us and I, right? With social media and everything else that's going on at the moment with technology, it's becoming much more I. There's no scene. There's no
big problem.
And people aren't sort of. You can't even use the word sometimes now, like tribe. Your own gathering of people. It's just going to be these individuals making soulless music. To me, that's a worry, where the technology is taking us.
I read about this guy a few weeks ago. He was like, last year, he was creating with AI, just like 5,000 tracks or so, put them under whatever names on Spotify and so on, and makes a fortune with all the plays. And just did not do no artistical approach into that. Only smart business thinking, yes, it's a smart business model. It's completely soulless. I mean, there's enough people that make money with soulless stuff, and it's fair enough. I had the opportunities too in my career, but I was choosing wisely the more bumpy path. I was always going the bumpy road. I was never going the easy road.
It's also the more fun part.
It's just because I always, just from the family, since I was a child, I always needed to fight, and I love to work. Believe it or not, I love to work. I love still to discover in this little micro world of music, some kind of new things, different edge that hasn't been played to death, some kind of quirkiness that is in a way catchy, but it's unusual also. I'm still hunting for that, and I love it, and I'm still driven by my everyday weirdness. Yeah, I would say. I still have this very open. I still try to keep my creative mind very open. As I say, I work a lot with students, how they approach the whole thing, and what I can also share my experience with them is super inspiring. It's mega inspiring. And some of my students are also making in the electronic world already some fuss right now, since we're working since a year or a little bit more than a year or so. Piton is playing the first tracks of one of my students, for example. It's a big thing. It's like for those guys who want to come up in the electronic scene, still a big thing. And I love that, super inspiring, especially since I do the coaching. Oh my God, they're mad. And I love that, to help them to be even more mad. And and finally there's someone listening to me. It's like, I really appreciate that.
All the best people are mad, let's be honest.
Always, you have to be mad to make mad stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, but the whole thing of DJs turning up with a thumb drive, I don't know, that doesn't...
I do that.
Do you?
Yeah, but okay, one thing against that, the vinyl is also such a big thing in our scene. You have no idea how many shit vinyl DJs I heard. 95 to 98% is the importance of the right selection of music, no matter what music style you're playing. It was always like that. It will always be like. You always have some, I call them music Nazis, that point the finger on you and say, you can't even play a vinyl. Dude, I had 35,000 vinyls. Of course I can play. I grew up with vinyl. Right. In my arms, in my bed as a child. Now, come on, don't tell me that. But just because nowadays I got a stick where I have this is very important for me, full quality files on that. It doesn't matter. Do you think any one of the people that are going to be in front of stage today give a fuck about the medium I play? Sure. If I play from a pen drive, or if I play from a vinyl or anything like that, you have the 2% of nerds that are there. The other 98% want, ideally, to listen to great music. And this is it. So the selection of music and how you build your music and how you build your set, also for a band, it's a similar thing. This is the real sensation. No one gives a fuck. It's not about that. And I'm kind of tired of discussing that. I come from this. I did it all. Yeah. It all comes back to in my opinion, there's still a lot of performances, but when you're a DJ, you're a selector. Yeah, there I'm old school. So you have to select the right music to touch people's soul. This is, in my opinion, this is all what's it about, not pen drive or something like that. It's not.
So obviously you still have the ability to, I've never DJ'd, so it's a new world to me in that respect. Reading the room, how do you read a room? I mean, if you've got
experience.
Right.
Experience. Usually in the club, I can tell you, when there is the perfect night, I'm there early, blah, blah, blah. I also love to do my own warm-up, by the way. I love to play long sets, 5 hours, 6 hours set, and take people on a complete journey. But after going through clubs like good 40 years or so, it's like, back in the days, I knew the guy, with the baggy jeans and the bass cap a little bit to the right or so. He was the guy, I was getting my weed from, or, this, that, or at 5 minutes before the club closes, there's still this, we call her 5 to 5 lady, is this girl that didn't get a guy for the night and totally drunk and is trying to. I see these characters. The characters are always different characters, but in general, the characters I see them when I go. I cannot go even as a guest into a club with ignoring it. I just see that. I said not about the drug dealer. I just see the dynamic of a club. I look if automatically if the woman shaking the hips, what is, is it like is it a sausage party, or is it, what is the level, man, woman, old rules, old school DJ, you got the woman dancing and the club will be full. Because the men are looking at them. Sometimes, sadly, I've seen that now in Ibiza, opening from this new hyperclub there, 15,000 people in, but 90% dudes on the dance floor.
Right.
Yeah? And I was a little bit surprised. Okay, the girls were in the VIP lounge, but this is, this has nothing to do with all respect. It's amazing. It's super impressive what they do there, but it has nothing to do with the so-called real clubbing, where the people go out for the music, for the musical experience, for the artistical side and so on. It's a big show, and the show is amazing, it's really good. But interesting enough, also, in a good club, you have a 50-50 crowd, and the people love it, and you see that, and they enjoy it. And then on those events, I was there, I was really surprised. 90% guys. Why?
Yeah, strange.
Strange, yeah.
So all of you've done some of the biggest clubs in the world, and over your career, again, which one you think was your favorite? Like the
DC-10 Ibiza.
One of the best clubs in the world.
I was 18 years resident in DC-10, 18 seasons between 2001 and 2018. And also in the times before the smartphone, 2005, the iPhone came. And in the years before, when not everyone was having their phone in the air, it was for quite some years just the most outstanding, wild place for electronic music in the whole world for years. And nowadays, it's still such a strong brand, living, that built up exactly because the beginning of the when the club opened in '99, like the first years were just something that was not happening anywhere else in the world. The people were appreciating a sound that also only got played there. No other club in the world was playing that sound over there. It was a very particular sound. The people loved it. It was just pure underground, pure energy. No kind of influencer bullshit. It was the real thing, the real clubbing, the real us. It was narcissistic partly. It was hedonism. It was everything. It was fucking nuts. And I loved it. I loved it to bits. Best time of my life.
Amazing. And I mean, but it's also a tough world, isn't it, being a DJ touring? Oh. It's like you're in drafty, cold places sometimes, It's seen as very glamorous. It's not very glamorous sometimes. I mean, is that fair to say?
Yeah, tonight is, what is it now? It's like we're after midnight. I got up at 7 today, I was traveling and so on, I was in the hotel, had too much coffee that I couldn't sleep. Now I'm here, we're doing this, in about an hour I have showtime. So I do my show, and then at 3 o'clock I finish my show, at 4 o'clock I'm at the airport, 6 o'clock is my flight to the next show. Yeah, and then I know I might have a window, if they let me early enough in the hotel, of maybe 2 hours tomorrow to catch up a bit with sleep before I have the next show. Another reason why I don't drink alcohol, but the best part is being behind the decks and playing for the people, playing the power that you really have as a DJ.
Right.
Yeah, you have a lot of power. I don't know if everyone really doing that and calls himself a DJ is really aware of what power they have when they're good. They can control everything.
Is there any other DJs out there that you really love that are playing now?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to sound too hard or harsh or so. I think a lot of DJs sound in the electronic field sound relatively similar. I always like those that are kind of going out of the frame a little bit music. Not a little bit. I like those guys who sometimes shock the people, surprise the people, not surprise with the longest drum roll, anything like that. Surprise with creativity, with playing some, just like some unexpected stuff, but that just hits the nail right in the second. People that are also musically are not just like limited to the Beatport top 20 or top 50 or something. The people that have something to say in their musical story. I could drop a few names. You probably don't know no one of them. Robert Wrume, Raresh, Trauma, people like that. It's like they're totally underground DJs. Especially this guy Robert Wrume. For me, he's like, oh, it's beautiful to listen to him. He's amazing. He plays also techno, but it's just amazing. He carries you on a journey, and he's one of those rare guys also who is an incredible producer, like with his very own aesthetic, like a Martin Butrich, for example. Sure. Martin has like a super certain aesthetic which I absolutely love, and Robert Wrume has this too. I just met him last week. Actually, I had a chance to have a few hours conversation with him. He's an awesome guy, fantastic DJ, fantastic producer. A very rare thing, you know. It's like not everyone who's a great producer is a great DJ. The DJ thing is to make money. Sure. Because as a producer, you don't make money. Long story short, like the business is life. So this is why so many, like let's say, bedroom producers want to jump on the DJ train, because this brings in good money. If you are famous enough or so, yeah. But yeah, I'm impressed by musicians. Also, DJs can be musicians, in my opinion. Right. In my opinion, Andy Weatherall,
sure,
rest in peace, was one of my absolute heroes. Absolute heroes. One of the most impressive DJ sets I ever heard was of him. 6-7 years ago in New York, I had an off day in New York, and my friend said, I played on a Friday, blah, blah, blah. And then Saturday, what we're doing? Yeah, this, that, okay, yeah, this club has, okay. Andy Weatherall is on a warehouse party in Brooklyn. That's where we go. And they opened at 12. I was there at 12:20, yeah. And I left this room at 6:30 or so in the morning. I did not know any single track of what this guy was playing. It was a square room. Massive sound system in the four corners. In the middle of the room, a DJ booth with like two like speaker towers there. No one was talking to him. Just this man with a beard, with his like weird headphones, playing the most fucking spaced out music. And the kids were dancing all the time like that. They were completely not on a drug thing. Yeah, just like they were so tranced away. It was packed, young people. It was one of the most amazing DJ sets I ever had in my life. Super, super cool. And he played another 6 hours. Then I felt my age a little bit at 6 in the morning. Yeah? Not playing myself, and I said, okay, after 6 hours I need to go. But that was really, really, really good. Really, really good. A super, super inspirational person still.
So when was the moment when you saw the big change, like the superstar DJs coming along?
That was about the time when my career broke through in like 99, 2000. Chemicals also was, literally with a soundtrack for that. And I remember I was also considered, I was in this group of, let's say, 20, 30 guys, and also considered as superstar DJs. What is a superstar DJ? It's the ones that do 2 or 3 gigs a night with a private jet. What is standard nowadays, yeah? But at this time, there was like, we had a few interesting weekends at the time. And the music was exploding worldwide. And it was still fresh. Yeah. It was still fresh. It was not like, like today is like, not today, but nowadays it's like, it's all, of course, it's watered out. It's all, it's all big business, But it was a different time then. And I enjoyed that a lot. I was playing a lot of gigs, really everywhere. I played everything in every corner of the world, and I still travel in nearly every corner of the world, which is good, but not as intensely as I did, obviously, in these times. It was crazy. It was actually crazy. America was great at the time. The clubs in America were fantastic.
You did a lot of work in New York as well, didn't you?
Yeah, everywhere. Funny enough, never in Germany. I mean, yes, I was playing in Germany, but was never in my, only, in the mid-90s, like when I was still playing like the early raves from 92 on or so, then it was in Germany, obviously, because, only in 94 I was playing the first time outside of Germany. But, yeah, I had the most amazing times in really in every corner of the world.
And is the remix kind of world as big as it used to be? Because I remember back in the day, everybody had remixes of everything they did in pop world. Like literally you had your 12-inch mix, which was a remix. Has that kind of mellowed over the years, or is it still a label still coming for remixes as much?
I mean,
as
I'm still super active. I still get quite a lot of requests, and I do not a lot, but I still do remixes. I just finished one last week, and we'll start another 2 next week. It has also watered out. Remixing is, in my opinion, also the original idea of a remix is you do a reinterpretation of your song or track to reach a different crowd. Yeah, to just get out of the bubble where this song or track is happening, and you want to open another bubble. That's the thing. So the pop artists, especially then in the 90s, and then also especially in the time when my whole breakthrough was like before and after the year 2000. When Madonna also came with a pop album, she needed the accessibility of her stuff in the clubs. So she had her A&Rs always out to find like the hottest like electronic producers at the time, and to give that she also has cool place in the clubs. Tori Amos with Professional Widow, with what was it? CJ Bolan did this remix of Professional Widow in the 90s, which became a worldwide super hit. Or Todd Terry was like touching, Everything But the Girl? Well, I think so, yeah. Yeah. And due to the remixes, these things became like worldwide hits. And so yes, there was a lot of power behind it. Nowadays, nearly every dance or electronic track, and there's hundreds of thousands every week coming out, has a remix of The Best Friend or anything like that. And of course, that's fair enough. I do this sometimes also as a favor to friends I know, but it has watered out. Sometimes I get like a super uninteresting, uninspired track with 15 remixes of the same track. And then, the only thing you could possibly use is a vocal sample that came from Splice.
Sure.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, so there's zero creativity, and so it's just like
I just gave up my subscription to Splice.
I still love the experiment of a proper remix. So from time to time, there's like rock bands approaching me, or like the so-called real artist, and sometimes from time to time, I even have an idea and approach artists and say, hey, what do you think? Do you still have the parts for this and that song? I would like to do a new interpretation of your old song. I did that last year with an old school German singer. And it was like totally surprised, and he loved like the result. Has nothing to do with what I do for bread and butter. Or with it. I don't want to limit myself. I just don't want to limit myself. And this is, I just want, I'm on the, what I said, on the constant way of discovering this little bit of unknown bubble that might be somewhere.
Sure.
And I'm super keen in finding it, and sometimes I find one.
Where do you think it's going, dance music now? What's the next
big thing?
Yeah, I mean, I know that's
after Afro house and tech house and so on and so on. Or do you mean like?
I mean, even bringing in AI. I mean, where's this all going to go?
I would say it's like you will never be able to destroy a world of music lovers. Let's say the consumers is a lot bigger. The group of consumers is a lot bigger than the real music lovers. It's reality, yeah. And for example, back in the days, it was like, let's say, festivals were full of like music lovers. They came for the bands. And nowadays they come a lot for like, whatever, stage design, a multimedia kind of like smack in your face, and so on. It's fair enough. How people consume have changed. I lost it. Tell me the question again, please. Sorry.
We're talking about AI.
Oh, yeah.
How it's going to affect production moving forward, new tunes. the whole next scene.
There will be consumers that are happy with it.
Yeah.
They're lazy. They're lazy consumers. They're okay when they listen to a nice melody that they heard probably 2,500 times in different contexts that year already on the radio, because it's all the same. And they're fine with that. They're not music lovers like you and me. They're not like triggered by sounds, triggered by emotions or anything like that. They're not at all. And so it's, you know, they will for sure, they probably consume AI music already, and they're fine with that. It's okay. Not everyone needs to be like a super music lover. But all real musicians that really love, that I know, all of them, yeah, they still go into the studio, they still play their guitar, they still cry into the microphone, they still work on just this emotion, the soul, exactly what I tried to explain, or what I tried to like picture out for you, like before. The things between the lines, the realness of that, I hate this word, authenticity.
Oh, yeah, authenticity.
Yeah, what a fucking word. Authentizität in German, so much easier. Yeah, and I'm definitely on that side, and I'm definitely, no matter what goes on around me, I love what I do so much. I'm just on my...
I think what you said there is true. I think there'll always be people who will accept literally anything. I mean, I might be naive in saying this, but maybe AI will become a bit of a phase, you know, in the sense that it's AI making music and it can fake it really well, but there is still something, you can only fool the people, you know, not all the time. It's like maybe they'll crave that connection, that emotional connection. They're just not getting enough from it. So maybe it'll come and it'll be there, but it won't be the threat that we all thought it was going to be, because the music industry's terrified of it at the moment. I mean, I've got friends at labels, major labels, and the conversation every week is AI, you know?
After every master engineer, there's already AI engines since years for mastering. Every master engineer I know nowadays is like kind of like they're afraid of the next morning every day.
And it's pretty good, to be honest. You know, I've seen the tests, and the AI version of mastering is all right. I can see it in the mastering thing, I think, as a creative tool, yeah, but I mean, it can even create vocals, it can do everything, but what is the point of it in the end? You know, this is the thing. You got to connect the dots. You know, it's just this machine.
I mean, you're either a musician, or you're a technician and a businessman, yeah. And when you're a bit of a technician and a good businessman, then and you don't have this kind of like, you know, I can't do that. I feel like I would sell my soul,
right?
Literally, and I simply can't do that.
I mean, you've got kids, so I mean, they're interacting with technology and music.
My daughter, if she wants, she can make a quick techno track in 10 minutes on her iPhone, and it even rocks. I mean, it's not about that. Yeah, for them it's normal. It's kind of normal using technology. What you said before, it's like, I mean, 8 seconds of sample time, 4 seconds we were ending, you know, 2 seconds. It's like, you know, and nowadays you can theoretically, you can do everything AI. You can do everything theoretically from the technology side, but good ideas.
Yeah, it's all about the ideas.
It's still something that, in my opinion, doesn't fit into any algorithm. Quirkiness is strangeness. You can create with an algorithm, but no quirkiness. Not these things that can be cool when they're in the right context, but apart from that, they're shit. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's this little, I don't know, overdubbed sound in a mix down, which just brings like some kind of strange feeling to that. Paul McCartney, the snare that we have in there is like so super fucking loud in it. But this is creative mastering. I worked with this guy, True Business from Berlin, a very old friend of mine. And he specialized in exactly this creative mastering. And he was like presenting this version to like other master versions he was sending before. I said, this is fucking great, man. This is it. This is this like Rick Rubin moment. Let's say it like that. This is this special kind of like, this makes this song now really fucking special. And you know, perfection. AI perfection is not what we're looking for. Perfection, soul doesn't come from perfection.
No, it comes from happy accidents a lot of the time.
Every day, happy accidents, you name it. This is what it's all about, and you don't have them.
Yeah, and that's the threat, I think. Well, AI, I'm kind of bored with it already in sort of what it brings to the table. It's like, where's the fun in it as well? Just pressing a button. Where's the fun in that? I mean, that's a big part of creativity as well, fun.
I think the real possibilities of what AI really can do in every person's life, not just in us, like working music business as well. It's like, I think we haven't not even discovered the real picture of that. So we will, how long is this now? Like kind of like in everyone's mouth, 2 years, 3 years. I mean, obviously AI is there since a longer time, but it's only 2-3 years. Imagine where we're at in 5 years. Nowadays already, just in the past weeks, I've seen videos, for example, that are just, you can't see the difference and you can't point the difference out anymore. And I would rather be afraid of like how we generally are going to be manipulated by AI. I mean, we are already, but to what extent we're going to be manipulated in news and all that, and politics and blah, 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 blah by AI. In music, I think, it's just, I'm 55. I'm making music maybe another 15, 20 years, knock on wood, yeah? And in that time, I have no plans to leave my past that I'm doing my whole life already. So,
I think it's personally, I've got sort of hope that it's going to burn itself out in some way. It's going to come back round. That may be naive.
We have to finish in a few minutes. I have to go.
Sure.
I have stage time soon.
Fantastic.
Sorry.
Well, no, we should finish up.
Worst
but
show, best show question.
Sorry.
Worst show, best show question.
Yeah, that's one we use every time. So as a brilliant DJ, worst show, best show, the one where everything went right and the one where everything went wrong.
Too many. It was just the driver was asking, what was your biggest show? Yeah, the biggest show was not the best show, but it was impressive still. But what is the worst show? The worst show can be like an event maybe with like 5 guests. Can be the worst show, but also can be the best show. Because with these 5 people, I had a few things in my career where I was ending up in an empty club with just a handful of people and the bar people, and was still playing 3 hours, 4 hours, and we had the best time. Drinking, having fun, listening to great music, and I had a great time. I had, as you can imagine, 30 years professional on the road. I had like any kind of things, like good and bad. From shootings to 500,000 people going completely crazy on the Love Parade back in the 2000s.
Amazing.
Or these things in DC-10, what I mentioned. I had nights there where the crowd, as well as me, we were all in tears because the emotion was like just so intense, yeah? Things like that. But I had, thankfully, not just one of those. Amazing. Really bad ones, strange ones for sure.
Well, a strange one. Tell me a strange one.
A strange one is in Russia was always, not always, but was very often. I was playing a lot in Russia as one of my singers was becoming big. It's still a big hit over there. And so in the 2000s, I was playing a lot in Russia. And then, I don't know, being on the same bill as a boy band in high heels. Really. They were playing before me. And it's fair enough. It's fine.
Yeah,
it
sure.
was just really weird. It was just really weird. The music was horrible. And then these guys and they couldn't even walk on those high heels. And then they were doing this show, and then, yeah, Timo, now you're on. Okay. I'm an underground DJ. Yeah. I also did shows like that. So this, let's say, strange shows. Yeah, I had a whole bunch of them. Shit shows you also have. When you do so many, I was thinking maybe 5,000-6,000 shows. Or gigs I had in my life so far. We were just counting, like the other week, my friend and I were going down to like the very beginning. How many times you played?
Wow.
And then we came like...
I don't think young DJs would have the energy to do that nowadays. That amount of work.
over the span of 40
Yeah,
years.
but still,
yeah.
it's hard work.
It's hard work.
You know, it is hard work. The hours you got to put in to be as good as
The
you
best thing about my job is coming up in half an hour, is being behind the decks. This is for me the best thing, because that's my safe zone. I like to talk, blah, blah, you know, but that's my safe zone. This is what I really love. I really do love what I do over there. I'm diving into my thing, and this is 100% my comfort zone, and will always be.
Timo Maas, thank you so much. I'll let you get to work. We could talk all night.
Very obviously, yeah.
Thank you.
I would have more stories. Sorry, I hope I wasn't talking too much.
You did exactly what we hoped you would do.
Started.
Yeah, you were fantastic, man.
Yeah,
It's a
I'm
pleasure,
just
man.
warming up, but I need to go.
Probably